Alright, welcome back to another hacking tutorial from Stealth Data Zero. Today I'm going to show you another framework from GitHub. Of course, we love GitHub because that's where we get all our tools from. This one's called Zirikatu. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but it's right here. Here's the link you need to go to. You can just Google this, or just go straight to the link and go to this GitHub page. Basically, this is a FUD payload generator. Windows 7, I think it's fully undetectable. Probably 8. Windows 10, unpatched versions, it works on. I cannot guarantee that it'll work on every single Windows 10 device, but when it comes to FUD payloads, this is some of the top of the line stuff, along with, of course, Veil evasion and Python evasion. The next best thing you can do is generate your own shellcode, and that's how you can really bypass a lot of antiviruses and Windows Defender. The problem is people upload these to things like Virus Total, and then they get out to Windows Defender, the signature, and then they block it. But for the most part, this works pretty good. It has a persistence feature, and it's undetectable in most cases. So you want to go ahead and copy the link here. Then git clone, and I already did this, so I'm not going to do it. And then once you have done, it just takes a few seconds. You can hit ls, find the folder, change directories to that folder, hit ls to list the contents. Now this is not going to be executable for you. You can see it's light green for me, so you need to hit chmod +X, and then hit enter. Then hit ls again, and it will be green for you like it is for me. Then you can execute it with the standard way to execute things on Linux. And hit paste. And it's very easy to use, and it doesn't require very many dependencies, so you shouldn't have any problems getting it running. If you do, just hit apt-get install, and then these names. You'll have this automatically, you'll have this automatically, you'll have this automatically. So the only things you have to worry about is these three. And if you do, just hit apt-get install mono, apt-get install MCS, apt-get install fallout and locate. But you should be able to just get it up and running. It's very easy to use. Now this can actually encode payloads up to 500 times. If you've seen my Unicorn video, you know how to use PowerShell payloads, which are also very good at bypassing antivirus and getting around Windows Defender. So you can try these out. I'll probably do a separate video of the PowerShell ones, or you can check out my Unicorn video. They just updated it, so it's even better. But we're going to just use the standard interpreter payload. So you can press 1. Now the L host, I'm going to hit Control-Shift-T, ifconfig, and it's going to be different for you guys or whatever Wi-Fi you're on. It's going to be different for, but this is your internal IP address of your Kali Linux box. that's what you need to put in as your outhost. If you're doing it remotely, you need to use your public IP address, which you can find by Googling what's your IP address, and you need to have port forwarding set up with your router for whatever port you choose when making the payload. So we're just going to do it over the same Wi-Fi for the demo. I suggest using port 443 because that helps bypass firewalls, especially when hacking over the internet, but over Wi-Fi doesn't matter. So I'm going to just use port 4444. Actually, I'll just use port 443. Now you can actually choose an icon for this payload if you want. I'm just going to hit yes. You can make it display an error message if you want. I'm going to hit no. And then you need to put the output, the file name, anything you could think of with social engineering. We're just going to put update.exe for this example. Now it's going to take a few seconds to generate the payload. And I'll show you where it generates the payload. Right here in the output folder. If this takes too long, I'm just going to skip it because I already made a payload and uploaded it to the Windows 10 device. So we'll just give it a second here and see what happens. But that's where your payload will be generated. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just move on. I'm going to hit Control C to cancel that. But basically, it's going to ask you if you want to start a multi-handler. You can hit yes if you want to. I'm not going to. I'm just going to start Metasploit. So I'm going to hit Service, PostgreSQL Start. And if you hit yes to start the multi-handler, just use the same settings that I'm about to show you, and you can do everything all at once with this program, or you can just start Metasploit like I have, or you can even use Armitage. Alright, so once the payload was generated in the output folder, you want to go to Other Locations, Computer, and you can transfer the payload any way. You can transfer it via USB stick, FTP protocol, TeamViewer, any way that you could transfer a file from one computer to another. That's how you can get the payload delivered, and then all you have to do is get the user to run the payload. And if you check out some of my other videos, I have some social engineering techniques with Beef or Wi-Fi Pumpkin or auto downloading websites that will help you social engineer people to download the payloads. So here's the payload that I've created. You just want to go to, I'm sorry, I went too far, HTML, and this is going to be your Apache folder. Yours will be blank, If you never used it before, you'll have two HTML files in there. Just delete those and paste your payload in that folder, and you'll be able to type your internal IP address into a browser, and it will redirect any device to that payload, and they can simply click it and download it. So that's one way you can deliver the payload. And you can even make like websites like here. This is an auto download website. Like I said, if you check out my other videos and want to see how to do that kind of stuff. Alright, so now that we have the payload ready to be downloaded, we're going to use Metasploit. And before you send the payload out, you always want to start your multi-handler because you don't want to miss the connection that your payload sends out. Because once the payload is ran, it sends out a connection, and that connection is what gives you your shell, and that's what gives you your control. So you need to set the same payload you use. We use the reverse TCP payload. So set payload. And make sure you do capitals like I do. Make sure you send the same port when making the payload. Remember what I said about port forwarding and using your public IP address on the L host when making the payload if you want to do this over the internet, and you have to do that with port forwarding rules and set that up with your router. The L host will always be your internal IP address of your Kali Linux box. The same one we found with ifconfig, and the same one that you can reach your Apache server with. Oh, also you need to hit service Apache to start. You can do that at any time. That's just going to make sure that your Apache server starts and people can reach it via the internet. You can do that at any time. And then the last thing you want to do is hit exploit. And this is going to start your multi-handler. Now I'm going to direct the Windows 10 machine to my Apache server with my internal IP address, http //10.0.0.15. That'll be your internal IP address for you guys, and download the payload that we just created. Save it and run it. And as you can see, I got a connection to the device. I'm going to hit system info, and you can see it's a Windows 10 device. I'm going to hit screenshot. You could also hit help. And if you check out my Windows post exploitation video, I go through all the commands and how to stay hidden, and all the commands that are on here that are cool. You can play with the webcam, all that good stuff. Elevate your privileges, upload files, get persistence. I'm not going to go through all the commands to save time, but I am going to do a screenshot. Now this is actually the payload. You can see that the icon was changed because I hit icon change, so that's what the icon looks like. It says update exe. You can name it whatever you want for social engineering. Check out my other videos to see how to social engineer people to run the payload and deliver the payload. You can use beef. You can use Wi-Fi Pumpkin, auto download websites, USB sticks, email. The list goes on and on and on. These are pretty good at bypassing antivirus and Windows Defender. No payload is 100% unless you make your own custom shell code. But here's the payload. You can see that I accessed it through my Apache server. Just opened up the browser, used my internal IP address, and directed it to the payload. So I'll do a quick picture, webcam, snap, and I just have the laptop pointing down at itself. And you can see you could take pictures with the webcam. So you have full control over the device. You can upload files, upload more malware. Check out my Windows post exploitation video to get the whole rundown on the interpreter list. Also, you can hit help, and it gives a brief description of all the commands. So that is how you hack with whatever the framework's called. I'm sorry, I don't know the name. It's hard to pronounce, but it bypasses most antivirus, especially on like Windows 7 and 8. It's a really powerful tool, very easy to use, and gives you full control over the device, and it works with Metasploit. And of course, you can use Armitage as well. Hopefully you found the video informative. If you did, go ahead and drop a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. If you have any video requests, go ahead and drop them in the comments. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I make sure to try to get to every single one. If you want to help the channel out, show your friends the channel, share the videos on social media. That really helps us out. As always, stay safe, have fun, and keep hacking, and subscribe for more.